I have a undergraduate degree from Arizona State University and Gonzaga University in social work, and I have a master's degree in social work from the University of Washington in Seattle. Um, Overall, I've been a licensed clinical social worker for about 10 or 11 years. I got my degree in social work, the master's. I got it late in life. Um, but yeah, so I also have a dual master. I have organization. It's a master's of organizational management out of the University of Phoenix. It's um, yeah, it's in Phoenix, Arizona. Pleasure to talk about that because I feel like my social work career is really my calling, right? So I can't think of doing anything else other than helping and servicing people. And I guess, my interest in social work was fueled as early, I guess, as my adolescence years when I started noticing, you know, things like uh, the terms back then weren't official, but the difference in class, the difference in ethnic and racial treatment, gender issues. I have a cousin a male cousin who came out in high school, and so I kind of witnessed some bullying and some unfair treatment there. I grew up in a family. We were considered below the poverty level because we were a family of 12 and living off of just my father's income. So I knew a lot about poverty and just the whole experience, I think, kind of led me to see the world through the lens of how oppressive the world can be. And I just had this desire to try and make things better. Mm-hmm. And I had some good mentors along the way, older people, wiser people that talked to me about, well, you can do this and you can do that, and don't let anybody tell you different. So, yeah, I thought that made a big difference. Currently, I am in the mental health clinic at the VA. So the VA has a plethora of different programs, and one of them happens to be mental health. So currently, I do therapy for veterans with diagnoses from post-traumatic stress to depression. I do marriage therapy, couples, and I'm also doing groups. I do mental health groups for veterans that have issues with interpersonal violence in their relationships. So, and I've been doing that for about 2 years now. The benefit is that for a skilled, a person that wants to develop their skill set, the VA is a great platform to do that in, because we have various different training programs for social workers to learn how to improve their skills, working with, well, basically the veteran population and their families. So I think that's a real benefit. It's not narrow, it's very broad, and depending on what area interests you as a social worker, you know, once you get into social work, you can move laterally to different programs. And like I said, there's a plethora of different programs.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always opportunities for advancement if you want advancement into the world of supervision. The benefit package is pretty good, you know, as far as human resources go, you know, retirement plans, health benefits. The health benefits are really good and don't cost a great deal. So health from dental, you know, vision. You go through the government employees health association and or something like that. What else? Well, you know, the thing that I love about it the most, and I can attest to, it's very easy to go from one VA to another. So if you like traveling, it's great, because it's a matter of just relocating is pretty simple. You know, as long as there's an opening in another VA, you can just transfer right over. So you can see a lot of the country if you choose to move from one VA to another. Because it's a government entity, one would qualify for the federal program for loan forgiveness. Salary-wise, it's very competitive with most, I guess, non-VA or community-based organizations. I don't know the number particularly, but I would say, you know, I don't know. What do you think? Maybe 30% more than the average social work pay. Some of the challenges are just based on it being a huge bureaucracy. So, you know, like I've worked in community programs as well. And in community programs, community-based mental health programs, you have a little bit more independence, I think. That was my experience, to be able to run different groups, different programs, try different things. The VA is very bureaucratic in that it does things one way. You've got regulations, you've got to know them, you can't violate them. It's sort of like working in the military, you know, being in service. You've got some pretty tight, you know, some pretty tight guidelines. Sometimes be a drawback for some people that like, you know, maybe to try different things that maybe the VA isn't necessarily on board with. I think it's very competitive. I think it's very competitive. I was hired in 2013, but it took about 6 months to actually get in the door. You know how that is. The hiring process takes a while. So I've been there actually since 2014. So that's about 7 years. Katina, it's exactly what you said. Really pay attention to detail. The application process will go back to the time that you graduated from high school. And you have to account for every month. If you, I guess, the way the documents read, if there's a 30-day gap that you don't account for, then you have to go back and explain what happened in that 30-day gap. So it's pretty stringent, and a lot of detail, timelines, details. The VA hires social workers, but they must be licensed, or they must be in the process of getting their license. So most VAs do not hire a person permanently in a permanent position until after they've already received their clinical license, and it must be a clinical license. Start early. You go through a platform called USA Jobs. You have to fill out a lot of their forms. And you have to do a pretty rigorous background check. I think that people that are interested in the VA would need to know that they are going to be joining a culture of what we consider veteran-centric culture. I mean, we really esteem and hold in high regard our country's veterans. And there's a lot of just intrinsic value to that, that you're really working with some of the country's most veterans that are people that are most in need, which would be those veterans that are coming back or have experienced combat in different theaters of war, whether it be Vietnam, because we still have a lot of Vietnam era veterans that use our services. But with more recently, is that the more between, say, 20 and 50 years of age, you're looking at the current conflicts in Iran, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And so these people really, they come back wounded. They really do come back very wounded in many ways, and it's a good way to give back, to serve them, to help them through their struggles. And they have many, many, many struggles.